Blog Talk Radio.
But we are making a stand, and we're waking everybody up that 9/11 was an inside job. And you are the minority. You are the cowards who don't know the truth. You're the people that serve this evil system. You're the people that serve a system that hurts innocent men, women, and children. Not just Iraqis, not just Afghans, not just Africans, but the people right here in this nation. You serve a new world order that attacks and feeds on you. And I'm here to tell you that you will be defeated. Your hours are numbered. We've got the energy. We've got the life force. All you've got is evil backing you up. All you've got is greed and liking to look at yourself in the mirror. Because deep down, the New World Order is a pot-bellied, chicken-necked ninny. And all the armor and all the weapons are nothing. You are nothing compared to good. You are nothing compared to life. And you will be defeated. I want the individuals out there, I want free humanity to turn themselves loose, to cut the chains loose, and to use the end of that chain to slap the New World Order right upside the head. You've got the power. You want to know who can defeat the New World Order? It is you. You're the individuals that are going to be able to defeat this system. You're the individuals that are going to be able to take down the New World Order. It doesn't matter if Ron Paul wins. It doesn't matter if they rig the election. What matters is that we're starting to stand up. We're starting to move. We're starting to find our legs. We're starting to build our muscle. We're starting to realize that we do have power, and we can work together, and we can take action, and that the naysayers are a pack of weak liars who have never had any successes in their life and who are upset.
Now let's set the record straight. There's no argument over the choice between peace and war, but there's only one guaranteed way you can have peace, and you can have it in the next second: surrender. Admittedly, there's a risk in any course we follow other than this, but every lesson of history tells us that the greater risk lies in appeasement, and this is the specter our well-meaning liberal friends refuse to face, that their policy of accommodation is appeasement, and it gives no choice between peace and war. Only between fight or surrender. If we continue to accommodate, continue to back and retreat, eventually we have to face the final demand, the ultimatum. And what then? When Nikita Khrushchev has told his people he knows what our answer will be. He has told them that we're retreating under the pressure of the Cold War, and someday, when the time comes to deliver the final ultimatum, our surrender will be voluntary, because by that time, we will have been weakened from within spiritually, morally, and economically. He believes this because from our side he's heard voices pleading for peace at any price, or better rev than death, or as one commentator put it, he'd rather live on his knees than die on his feet. And therein lies the road to war, because those voices don't speak for the rest of us. You and I know and do not believe that life is so dear and peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery. If nothing in life is worth dying for, when did this begin? Just in the face of this enemy? Or should Moses have told the children of Israel to live in slavery under the Pharaohs? Should Christ have refused the cross? Should the patriots at Concord Bridge have thrown down their guns and refused to fire the shot heard round the world? The martyrs of history were not fools, and our honored dead who gave their lives to stop the advance of the Nazis didn't die in vain. Where then is the road to peace? Well, it's a simple answer after all. You and I have the courage to say to our enemies, there is a price we will not pay, there is a point beyond which they must not advance. Winston Churchill said the destiny of man is not measured by material computations. When great forces are on the move in the world, we learn we're spirits, not animals. He said there's something going on in time and space and beyond time and space, which, whether we like it or not, spells duty. You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
Renewed hostile actions against United States ships on the high seas and the Gulf of Tonkin have today required me to order the military forces of the United States to take action in reply.
Dr. Martin Luther King, the apostle of nonviolence in the civil rights movement, has been shot to death in Memphis, Tennessee.
Senator Kennedy has been shot. Is that possible? He still has the gun. The gun is pointed at me.
All right, everybody. Hey, how you doing tonight? It's Blog Talk Radio, Joseph Gibson, broadcasting from Greensboro, North Carolina. Where are my supporters? Where are you? I'm calling you, and you don't answer. I don't know where they are. Maybe they're out to dinner. They're crying broke, but they're out to breakfast and out to dinner. Who knows? I don't know. I've got a few on the line tonight. But, I had some things I want to talk about tonight that are very important. There's a lot of news out there, and, I really want to discuss it. And I was hoping some of my supporters here would be on the line here tonight. But as usual, when you try to count on people, they're never there. And that's a great lesson to learn about the times we live in today, understanding the times we live in today. Well, here's one of my supporters here that's popped up on the line, and there's another one. Hey, well, I guess you're running a little bit late tonight. Okay, all right. Let's see here. We got a few on the line tonight. I'm missing. Let's see here. I'm looking at the call screen. We got Joe in Spazia, Florida. We got Bitbanker. We got Deborah Lewis. Hey, there's Mike from Wisconsin. He just popped up. Where is Elizabeth Rondo tonight? Where are you? Are you sleeping? I don't know. There's Bridget Pruitt. There's my friend from Eden there. He's on there. There's a couple overseas calls there. And listen, when I talk about the overseas callers, they have to pay to call in. So we should really appreciate them listening, really. And I understand if they can only listen for 30 minutes or so. My friend in Germany, and remember Christina England? She was a guest on this show from the country of England, who we talked about natural cures and stuff. She listens in. She'll listen in for 20 minutes, and I understand if she has to leave the program early because she's paying for the phone call. It's not free. But you know what? She's paying to listen to us tonight. She's paying to listen to us in the past. So you have people around the world who are listening to this program tonight. I don't know where I spoke with Elizabeth Rondo earlier. She sounded like she was half asleep, so maybe she fell back to sleep. I don't know. But maybe certain family members here who are on the program tonight need to call her and say, hey, where are you? Make sure she's okay. She's elderly. She's old. So, and usually she tunes in. So maybe a couple people need to maybe give her a buzz and find out where she's at. But we got an interesting program tonight. I'm going to check the chat room here real quick, see what's in the chat room. We got a few users in the chat room. I like people that, go into the chat room and talk. And I'm looking at what they're typing. And, here in North Carolina, guess what? We're looking at 5 to 8 inches of snow. Uh-oh. What does that mean for North Carolina? Everybody run to the grocery store because you may be trapped for 2 or 3 days. And you remember that little episode I play in the beginning of the program about, most grocery stores only have 2 or 3 days worth of food on the shelves. And you see, everyone runs to the grocery store. There's a snowstorm coming. Oh my God! Oh my God! They're all standing in line at the grocery store like it's the end. The rapture's here. The rapture's coming. I might get left behind. And that's what I'm talking about. What would happen if the economy tanked, or if the grocery store didn't have any food when you went in there? What would happen? We're not going to address that tonight, but just think, use logic here. Everyone's running to the grocery store. You got to be. Why aren't you prepared already? Why aren't you being prepared already? Why not? It don't make any sense, does it? All right, there's Elizabeth Rondo. All right, she just queued in there. We got the full supporter cast on tonight. So that's great. I'm happy about that. Tonight we're going to talk about, and I've got several clips to play tonight for everyone, and we're going to talk about something very disgusting. We're going to talk about a mentally handicapped individual who was a white man who was tortured, kidnapped, tortured, and abused by 4 savages, black savages, in the most disgusting city in the country. It's called the city of Chicago, in case you don't know. Now, Chicago has more shootings and murders in their city every year than New York, Dallas, and Los Angeles combined. Okay? It is a disgusting city to live in. If you live in Chicago, flee. 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 Get the hell out of there if you can. Because there doesn't look like there's going to be any... Look, Barack Obama nation came from Chicago. All right? Anyway, the recent event that has happened, many people don't understand what's going on, but let me tell you the story because I want to keep you here. And we're going to call the Chicago Police Department tonight live on the line. We're going to call them. I got their number here all set up and lined up. And we're going to get a comment from them. And I got several clips here to play for everyone. And then I want to hear from the callers here and what they think on the racial violence and all this nonsense that's going on around the country today. Now, some of you may have grown up during the 1960s and you've seen this before. How does it compare to today? I'd be interested in hearing that. How does it compare to how any of us have grown up? I grew up in the 1980s, and, we didn't take no crap as white boys in our school, okay? I'm going to tell you that right now. And I see these Peter Pan cuffed pants that the white boys are wearing now. They look like little skirts, actually. They got the tight little jeans with their Peter Pan heel, ankles showing, and their silly little shoes, and their ass pants are so tight they look like women, actually. Okay. So these are things we're going to address here tonight. All right. And we're going to talk about this here tonight. I lost one caller already. I don't know what happened to this individual, so maybe they'll call back in. But I don't know why they dropped. See, I watched the call screen. I've got about 22 callers on the line. 10 of them are my supporters, and 4 of them, of course, won't talk because they're afraid to. I don't know why, but I appreciate you listening. And then, of course, we've got the others that contribute. But I want to play a couple clips here to get this subject heated up. All right? And this is Fox News here. This is the reporter Tucker Carlson versus a socialist college student who hates Donald Trump. Okay? And we're seeing a lot of this today. A lot of people hate Donald Trump, and they believe that he is the king of the white man, and he's going to bring back slavery, and Donald Trump is going to, the Muslims are being discriminated against, every African American, their food stamp cards are going to be shut off, and we got to have a revolution. And we got a lot of white people who agree with this, actually. So we're going to play a clip here right now. Please listen in. It's about 6 minutes long. If we can get it on here. We got a lot of white people who agree with this, actually. It's a little bit muffled. I don't think I can get it on. I don't think I can get it for you. No, I can't get that clip. Sorry. I apologize. A little bit muffled. I didn't download it all the way. Let me try for this next clip here. Donald Trump supporter here. Let me try this one. See if I can get this one. No. Hang on. Just bear with me here. Technical difficulties. If not, we'll go ahead and call the Chicago Police Department, but hang on. All right, I'm not getting anything there either on the feedback on the audio, so obviously the audio is messed up here, and we'll try to. I can't get it for some reason. I don't know why. Something's going on here. I've got these clips here I downloaded for people. Maybe I downloaded it wrong. I don't know, or maybe Blog Talk's just not letting me play it. I don't know. Let me go back to my studio here. Basically, what it is these socialist college students who believe Donald Trump is Hitler. Basically. So I couldn't get those clips for you, so I'll go ahead and move on to what I had planned next. And we'll go ahead and we're going to contact the Chicago Police Department Public Affairs Division. And I want to comment about this. I hope everyone knows what I'm talking about. If you don't, then you're not really paying attention to what's going on out there. But 4 black savages attacked a mentally white male in the city of Chicago. And you're going to listen to what I got to say about this in a second here. I'm just typing in the number, so bear with me here. Hopefully we got this right. Hopefully this is correct. I had short notice on this one, so number 6,000. Yeah, 6,000. All right, let's see what we get here. Let's just call and see what happens.
Chicago Police, non-emergency.
Yeah, Chicago Police Department, non-emergency. How you doing? My name is Joseph Gibson. I'm calling from Blog Talk Radio out of Greensboro, North Carolina. Can I get a public statement from someone in your department about the latest attack there where you had 4 African males attack a mentally handicapped white male? Have they been charged with a hate crime?
Okay, let me get a number to call, sir.
Can you get a number to call me?
I'm going to give you the number who you can call about the situation.
Okay. Go ahead and give it to me, sir.
312.
Hang on 1 second. 312.
745.
745.
5103.
5103. All right, who am I calling when I call this number, if you don't mind me asking?
That's our headquarters. They can get to answer all your questions.
All right, thank you very much for your time, sir.
Take care.
All right, folks, that was the Chicago PD. All right, and he gave me a number to call, and we're going to call that number. Let's see what happens when we call that number. He says he can answer all our questions. That's interesting, because you just heard him. He said, and he's logged off. He's no longer connected. So don't be afraid, other people. Don't worry. You're not going to get in trouble for listening to the program. Excuse me. But he says he can answer all our questions. Okay, well, let's find out. He says he can answer all our questions or my questions, and we're going to go ahead and give the Chicago Police Department a phone call. Let me type in the number that he gave me here. How much? Hey, everyone, can we place a little side bet here real quick while I'm typing in the number? How much you want to bet I get a voicemail? Oh, boy. All right, here we go. Chicago Police Department, this is the number he gave me. I'm dialing it now. We want answers. We're calling the Chicago Police Department. Hello?
Chicago Public Safety Building, how can I help you?
Hey, how you doing? My name is Joseph Gibson, and I'm calling from Blog Talk Radio, broadcasting live from Greensboro, North Carolina. And my question is about the recent racial attack that happened in Chicago. That's obviously on the news all over the country. And were the 4 individuals today or yesterday charged with a hate crime attacking this mentally challenged white man?
I've got to transfer to our news affairs, okay, sir?
Yeah, excuse me? Can you say that again, please? All right, he just... I guess he can't answer all my questions. He's transferring me. Here we go. We've done this before, haven't we?
Chicago Police Department's Office of News Affairs.
Voicemail!
Please choose from the following menu options.
Voicemail!
Press 1 only if you are a sworn Chicago police officer making notification to News Affairs. 2 for charging and mugshot information. 3 for
mugshot information. Yeah, we want
4
that.
for all other inquiries by media.
4
5 to obtain
all
records
other
such as
I
copies
can't
of
press
police
any
reports.
number. I'm live on a radio
6
show.
for sex offender registration information.
6. Do you want to register as a sex offender, anybody?
8 for student requests for information. 9 for all
student
other matters.
requests.
And 0 to repeat the menu.
And 0 to repeat. What happens if I stay on the line? Will you repeat it again?
While I transfer your call.
Oh, good. They're going to transfer me to somebody. This is your country, folks. Understanding the times in which we live in today. This is the Chicago Police Department. What did my first contact tell me? I'm going to give you a phone number that will answer all your questions. Did he not say that, folks? Did he not say that? And then the next guy, before I can even ask him a question, transfer me.
Menu options. Press 1
no, I'm not
only
choosing
if
from
you are a sworn
anything.
Chicago
I'm going to
police
start
officer
right
making
back from the
notification to News
beginning
Affairs.
again.
2 for charging and mugshot information. 3
No,
for
I don't want
media
mugshot information. I'm going to put you on hold. How about that? And you can hang up on me when you're ready. How about that? All right? Folks, this is what you get when you want answers from your public servants across the country. Imagine if your family member was assaulted, and just say this had been your family member who was assaulted and attacked by 4 black savages, okay? And the most disgusting city in the country, Chicago. Oh, we live here in Greensboro, North Carolina. Let me tell you this. Last year, we had 43 homicides. Guess how many were solved? 12. What does that mean, folks? 12. What does that mean? That means there's 31 unsolved homicides. There's 31 murderers running around in the streets of Greensboro, North Carolina. Maybe I need to call the Greensboro, North Carolina Police Department. Maybe I should do that, folks, because we want answers in the year 2017 on this show, and we're going to get them one way or the other. And they're still on hold, the Chicago PD. They're still on hold. Should I call back the first gentleman I spoke to and ask him why my questions weren't answered when he promised me? He told me my questions will be answered? Did he not tell me that? You all heard it for yourself, didn't you? This is the country you live in, folks. This is the country you live in. And what happened yesterday where a man was tortured, okay? Tortured. A mentally handicapped man was tortured. Okay, they disconnected finally, the Chicago PD. They just hung up. Finally. Because I guess their voicemail played over so many times, and I guess they hang up. All right. Isn't Rob Emanuel the mayor of the city of Chicago? Maybe we should call his office. We're going to start doing this on this show, folks. No more tit for tat, no more games. We're going to start pestering these people, and we have a right as the media to demand answers. We're not Fox News. We're not CNN. We're not paid off by the bankers. We want answers. Okay? Sick and tired of it. And if anyone's got a question or wants to comment thus far what has happened on this program tonight, please press 1 and give me your opinion on how we combat this on this program. Give me show ideas, people. Come on. Tell me, where do we go from here? What should I do? I'm asking everyone out there to contribute. What do you think about the attack that happened? Let me tell you something. Me and a family member were broke down in downtown Greensboro, North Carolina this summer. My car broke down. Okay? We're in a convertible Mustang. All right? And let me tell you, we were there not more than 5 minutes before somebody said, "You got a cigarette? Got a cigarette? Hey, you got a cigarette? You got $1? Hey, you got a quarter? I'm trying to buy myself something to eat. You got a quarter? You got a quarter? No, go away." Some people came up and they didn't even speak English. Pointing at the cigarette I was smoking. I want that. Can I get that? Can I get that? One person asked my passenger, "Can you buy me a drink, sir? Can you buy me a drink?" The gall of these people. The gall. The nerve. This is the morale. This is what we have. We're all one. We're all one people, aren't we? We all need to get along. Right? And those clips I was going to play you about these rich kids in college who think they know it all. These 20-year-olds who think they know it all. And it's their world, because they're the future. Okay? They got the nerve to talk about the white man is suppressing us. And they're white themselves, by the way. I wish I could play those clips. I really do. Disgusting. The country we live in today. This is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And I'm going to go to my first caller right now. And I really want to call back the Chicago PD because I felt like I was just lied to. I really feel like that. And you all heard it yourself. I'm going to give you a number where all your questions can be answered. And what did I get when I called that number? Tell me, some of you out there, when you have a problem and you have a question that needs to be answered, you have a problem with your cable bill, you have a problem with your internet connection, you have a problem with your electric company, do you get the same response that I just got? Are you sick and tired of it? Well, guess what? This is the show where we're going to try to make a difference and stop. I'm sick and tired of the customer no service. I'm sick and tired of it. I really am. And I know you are too. First caller tonight. First caller. Go ahead. Vic Banker out of Meriden, Connecticut, one of the supporters of the program. Go ahead.
I'm the first caller, thank goodness. I don't have too much to say about what you commented on, but I can comment a little bit. First of all, your snowstorm that's coming. Yeah, 8 inches of snow for North Carolina. That's going to be tough down there. Just think of all those guys. They've got their beer buried out in the woods, and they're not going to find it. Those people with the stills, they may not find that either. The place is going to be chaos for the next 3 or 4 days. Everybody's going to be running around not knowing what to do. At least that's what I hear from down there anyway when I was there. You're lucky you didn't get voicemail all the way through calling the Chicago Police Department. What I would do is I'd sit down and write them a letter. I'd let them figure it out and get back to me and give me a number to call where I could call them back because I don't want to waste my time calling these people because that's what you get nowadays, just like you said. So that's the way I'd handle that. But
well, we're not really wasting time because we're live on a radio show. We're not really wasting time, and we're making an example that's archived. If I was doing it personally, that was my point that I was trying to talk to you and other listeners out there. When you call your local cable company, aren't you sick and tired of wasting your time when you can't get your complaints addressed? You talked about this, Vic Banker, in a show about 4 months ago, Wells Fargo, how they screwed you over and how you had to waste your time. So that's the point I'm trying to make.
Oh, I agree. They all waste their time. I spent a little bit of my time today watching these jokers in Congress. There are senators talking about the alleged, Russian hack into the voting system and everything else. And I can say quite a bit about this that might help things out. That may not help things out. If you want me to go a little bit on that.
You can go ahead, and I just want the other two callers to know. I know I got Joe in Sebastian, Florida. He's waiting in the wings, and there's an unknown caller, but I'll get to Joe in Sebastian, Florida first. But go ahead, Bitbanker. Go ahead. You got plenty of time, so go ahead.
Okay. First off, I don't know if I'm correct anymore. I've been out of this field for a decade. So what I'm going to say is off the top of my head, correct or incorrect or partly correct, I don't know. One thing we learn from history is we never learn from history. We can say that for sure. Because from what I've seen on TV, no offense to these gentlemen that I've seen on TV, these heads of security, they're smart gentlemen. They appear to be brilliant, intelligent people. But I can tell that they don't know what they're talking about. We're talking about hacking voting machines, breaking in, stealing emails. Well, you know what? If the Russians did do it, I want to thank the Russians for getting those emails. Because it only shows the level of corruption our government is in, and that's probably the reason why they're all up in arms, because they don't want us to know. You know, first things first. You know, security on the internet. You have to remember there is no security. If you put something on your computer, expect it to be stolen. Microsoft is well known to be the biggest vulnerable operating system on the planet. It's full of holes, full of cracks, full of vulnerabilities. It's virus-ridden, it's malware-ridden, it's worm-ridden, it's everything-ridden, and our government is still using computers from 1983 with Windows 3.1 on it because they haven't upgraded the systems. It's a wonder they're broken into. You know, we can talk about private IP addresses, public IP addresses, routing protocols, network packet headers. You know, there are 7 layers of the network packets: the application layer, the transport layer, the internet layer, you know, the network layer, the session layer, presentation layer, and so on and so forth. And people can understand packet is actually formed in their computer and sent out over the internet, and then they have a better understanding on how these things work. And what they will find out is that it doesn't work. Nothing works. It's all flawed. And these people, as I mentioned in the beginning, are probably making megabucks to sit there and talk about things that they know very little about. They've been briefed by people like me in the past to go up there to say something to the American people, to the other senators. Oh, look at McCain today. I mean, God forbid. The guy you couldn't even hear what he was saying when he was talking because maybe he didn't want you to hear what he was saying. I don't know. But you know, if they want to fix these problems with these computers and hacking and security issues, well, they're never going to be fixed. But if they want to secure their systems, they have to get people to actually do it. And they're not going to get people paying them $12 or $15 an hour, because if you're going to be proficient in security and cryptography and things of that nature, like everyone's heard of VPN, virtual private networks, and triple DES encryption, triple data encryption standards, and PPP and PPOE, point-to-point over internet. Those are all sort of security, encryption, cryptography. And if they want people to work on these protocols and implement them and have things work properly, they're going to have to pay them. And I'm talking like a starting pay of like $1.25 a year, $125,000 a year, because that's what these young people need. Don't hire old geezers like me who are in their 60s and 70s, because we're not going to learn it. We're going to be dead before we learn it. And these new people that learn, they're going to write these new cryptography algorithms and things in nature like this. They need to understand the hardware, the chips that actually make up the computer, how things work inside the computer. You can get a 5-year-old today and write some sort of program that will actually work, but do they understand on really what's happening inside the computer? We could sit here and talk for hours on what happens when you write a sentence and in your computer and you press enter before it actually goes out your network port. So many things have to happen. And those are the things that you need to understand when we're talking about security. And for the gentleman to get on TV today and to be using computers that are 30 years old is totally ludicrous in this day and age. And they're just hoping that they can probably pin this on the Russians. You know, everything can be hacked. Your IP address can be hacked. You can make believe you're coming from a different location. You've got a MAC address, a media allocation, whatever it is. Every network interface that you plug in has a specific address. There are supposedly no two the same anywhere in the world. Different than an IP address because it's hard-coded in the hardware, and even those can be fooled and changed. So there really is no security. So what we need bright young individuals, and we need our government to finally realize to stop spending $100 million on vacations for Obama and start getting the people we need that can do the work that we need, and get rid of this microshaft operating system. Yes, it's good. Yes, it's fun. Yes, it's good for browsing the web. But if you're looking for anything for security, get the hell away from microshaft. That's my spiel on that.
Well, where do they go? If they don't use microshaft, it's Microsoft, but you call it microshaft, where do they go from there? Where do they go? I mean, where do they turn to? What do you advise people to use?
I can only tell you what I know, and like I said, I haven't done anything in 10 years. Microshaft's foundation was wrong to begin with. It was built on the wrong foundation, insecure. Linux is a free operating system. It's freely available. People could switch to different variants of Linux operating systems. Apple's OS, the Mac, originally they were using, I think, the 68,000 microprocessor. I believe it's right, 68,000 microprocessor. And back then, I wanted to write code for their machine because people had Macs when they first came out, and just to get the software, because Apple wouldn't allow you to write code for their processor, was tens of thousands of dollars. But as you can see, or maybe you can't see, but I'm telling you, back in the early 2000s, abandoned their Mac OS, and they came out with, I believe, version 10, which I think was a Debian, which is a Linux, another Linux version, Debian, which was freely available, and they took the kernel and or was it Mandrake or Debian, I don't know, and they modified the kernel. The kernel is the basic operating system, because you can do that with Linux that you can't do in Windows. You can take the kernel, which is the operating system, and you can take things out that you don't need or put things in that you do need, and they modify it to run on all the Apple computers nowadays. And if you've noticed, since 2000, Apple has been doing quite well, because just prior to $2,000, they were ready to throw in the towel because they were going down, because what they were doing just wasn't working. So Jobs didn't have a good idea there, but he had a good idea by going to the free Linux version. So anyway, there are plenty of free Linux versions you can download. You can download them right to CD or DVD. You can run them right from the DVD. You don't even have to install them on your computer, and you can get accustomed to it. It's a learning curve for anybody, but it's secure, and that's one of the problems with Windows. With Linux, there are file permissions and user permissions. On Windows, you have some of those too, but not like Linux. In the newer versions of Windows, they're getting better. You see, when anybody hacks into your computer, when you install your Windows operating system, you generally install it and you're the administrator on the machine. You can do whatever you want on the machine. It doesn't happen that way in a Linux environment. You don't do that. You create a user, and the user has limited privileges. So to install a virus or a worm or a malware is much more difficult, and that's where the security actually begins, with the user permissions. But most people aren't even going to get involved in Linux because they're happy with what they got, and I don't blame them, because it's sort of like riding a bike. You know how to do it. You don't want to learn how to ride a motorcycle. But that's how security would go. If anybody's interested in that, anybody wants to get involved in computer science and security and cryptography, be prepared that you should learn the hardware and how printed circuit boards are made, the actual circuits. Get an old computer, get a magnifying glass, look at the numbers on the chips, research the numbers on the chips, find out who made them, get new drivers for those chips, and go on and do things like that, and you'll be well on your way to actually writing the code, because you'll be able to write the code because you understand how the hardware works. How's that? Go ahead.
Well, there you go. Hey, you gave us an earful tonight. I know some of the callers are saying, what? But there's other callers that are saying that was very helpful, what you talked about. So, and like I said, sometimes people just need to listen. And that's the title of this show, Understanding the Times in Which We Live. Sometimes you learn about new things, and that's what I was just talking about. Some people are saying, what the hell are you talking about? But other people are saying, wow, I'm glad he said that. you know. But stay on the line. I lost one caller. He was waiting. But, hey, if you can't wait a couple minutes to have someone have their turn, you know what? Don't bother calling in then. How about that? You know, get the hell off the phone line. But Joe in Sebastian, Florida, he's been waiting, so I'm going to connect him and let him speak. Joe in Sebastian, Florida, you're welcome to the program tonight. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'll say good evening to everyone and Happy New Year to all. Well,
Happy New Year.
In 1946, I went to Chicago and I went to radio school. It was right down on the south side on Paulina Street and Ashland, and I was taking the radio course. I was a young kid, 16 years old, and I was approximately a block and a half away from the school. So I was walking there one day, going to school with a couple of guys, and a couple of black kids come over to me and give me some money. I want some money. I said, I can't give you any money. I don't have any money. And he sort of takes a swing at me. Well, I hit him first, and he went down. And then, unknown to me, he had a knife in his belt, and he stuck it in my toe. I still got this scar in my toe. Well, my mother found out about it, and she says, "Okay, that's it. You're going up to the north side." I stayed up there. I had a ride, 45 minutes in a streetcar every day, going and coming to school. Well, that was that. Next, I'd like to tell Joey one thing. Joe, we had the same name, and if you really are getting that information about the Russians on your machine, I would try to make a copy of it, or try to copy it, or what it's saying, because I've been talking to a general down in Tampa, for the last week and a half, and I'm sure that my name might be mentioned up there, or in the emails going back and forth. I know they didn't in the beginning. The last thing I'd like to mention is the show last week was a good show. I liked it. It was interesting. The only thing is that we didn't talk about is when people get hungry, where are they going to get the food? The food is going to be from you. They're going to break into your house and they're going to get your food. Well, you need a weapon. Well, not only to protect your kid, your wife, and what have you. If you all remember, I mentioned about this radio announcer on CNN. She got raped 6 or 7 times at Victory Square in Egypt. Just the men just crowded around her, and that was it. They wouldn't let any other women near them. So I lost track of her now. I don't know where she is right now. She was a good-looking character, and well,
that's why they raped her.
I guess so. All in all, I would think that her panties go for a couple of bucks right now. They're selling them.
Yeah,
but,
In the sick ISIS world, yes.
Yeah, without a doubt. Okay, well, that's about all I've got right now, Joe. I hope your show brings up more interesting features. One other thing. One other thing
go
that
ahead,
I wanted
Joe.
to mention.
Go ahead.
Is that when I got off the track there. You need a weapon. You need a weapon to protect yourself or your family. Now, what type of weapon would you use? The best weapon to use when you're in a house and they're trying to break in would be a shotgun, and with pellets and what have you. So that would be good. A pistol, that works in close quarters for most people.
But a rifle is no good. A rifle does you no good in close quarters, correct?
Well, that's right. When I said, when they're outside, and if they're in the house, well, a rifle might be good if you're trying to shoot through the walls and what have you, but pellets don't go through a wall very good. What you need is a pistol, and the type of pistol you pick, 22 rifle, no. I know people that got shot 5 times with a 22 and still kept on moving, but it would be a 9mm or something like that. 38 special.
But Joe,
45.
let me ask you this question. Joe, let me ask you this question. 30 years ago, even 20, would we be having this conversation about a rifle protecting our homes? Isn't that an example of how far our country has gone array?
Well, I'd say yeah, it has. It has gone downhill. I'm getting away from the area a little bit, but I'm watching some black people, and they are talking about acquiring weapons here, and here in Sebastian, acquiring weapons.
Wow!
And they asked me, and they don't know who I am or what I am. All I do is I stop in with them every single week, and how are you? Oh, good. Hey, Joe. Yeah. You got any guns you want to sell? No, not now. Okay.
Yeah.
And it goes like that. So all in all, the information that's going around that everybody's getting, it's false. Or they get a wrong thing. As for food,
Joe, real quick, not to interrupt you, Joe, but what about this attack that happened on this white man now in Chicago? Finally, we get some national publicity about a white man who's been attacked by 4 black savages, and finally, but the Chicago police at first denied it. They didn't want to charge these people with a hate crime, but they had to because of the public pressure. But at first they weren't going to. But thank goodness to people like us who are out there saying, "Whoa, what do you mean it's not a hate crime?" And what's your opinion about this? I mean, this is happening all over the country. Whites are being attacked left and right, and they have been for a long time. And if you think you're safe out there in the city, you are a sucker. You need to wake up and watch your back. But go ahead, Joe, what do you think? What's your opinion on that through your experience throughout life and what you see the country is heading to with this melting pot we have?
Well, I can't say too much about it, mainly because of the fact that I heard the same thing on Fox News that you heard, and to talk more about it, I really can't. But on Fox News, right down in 2 towns down from me, okay, so there was 3 black guys went in there, and they made the boy rape his mother, okay?
Oh, Lord. Oh, my God.
I know. Well, they finally caught the guys, but, the damage has been done already. So that's about all I have to talk about right now, but I'm enjoying these types of shows. Go ahead.
All right, good, Joe. Thanks. I appreciate it. Thank you, Joe. Hang on. Let me mute Joe. Thanks, Joe from Sebastian, Florida. Let me mute you. You can still listen, of course. And Bitbanker, go ahead. If anyone else wants to contribute, press 1, because after Bitbanker, we'll start getting ready to wrap it up, and I'll have closing arguments, of course. But if you want to contribute, you need to press 1 promptly. And I'm going to check the chat room, too, real quick, because, we have to make sure our chat room is represented here. And I like to do that. It's very important. If you have a comment in the chat room, please do so about these 4 black savages that attacked this poor, white, mentally ill man, okay, in Chicago, the most disgusting city in America. And I'm going to tell you right now, I sure as hell would never go to Chicago. I'd be afraid. First of all, there's a gun ban in Chicago. You're not allowed to arm yourself, number one. I mean, if you're a criminal, you're going to arm yourself. Because criminals don't care about the laws, right? I mean, you're going to carry a gun in Chicago if you're a criminal. But me, as a law-abiding citizen, I'll be like, I can't carry a gun. I'll be breaking the law, you know? And someone typed in the chat room, Flycatch, thank you very much. If you missed it, Flycatch, earlier on the program, we called the Chicago Police Department live on the air and requested details about the charges that have been filed against these four savages. And that's what they are. They're savages. It don't matter if they're black. It don't matter. If they were white, they would be savages too. Okay? So don't come with me with that damn racist crap. All right? Facts are facts. So Flycatch typed in the chat room, hate crime charges have been filed today. So they're now going to be charged with federal hate crime, which is going to carry a very stiff sentence. I'm not 100% sure on what those charges carry, but I'm sure they're mandatory minimum sentences, which they should be carried out. But the fact of the matter is yes, they're going to be punished according to the law. Yes, blah, blah, blah. But my question is, my beef is, why hasn't the media chewed on this like they did with, say, George Zimmerman? We all remember Trayvon. Remember old Trayvon who was carrying the bag of Skittles? And George Zimmerman, who wasn't white after all, he was Hispanic. Remember? Because remember, they all portrayed George Zimmerman as being a white man who was a racist. Okay? So, and that's my beef. And if any of you missed it, we called the Chicago PD, and if we have time at the end of the program, I may call them back because I didn't get the answers I wanted. So, before we do that, move on, Bitbanker has a comment. So, Bitbanker, go ahead. You're back on the air.
Well,
go ahead.
All right. I thought I had a few minutes, but evidently it's getting taken away from me. But first, a comment about Joe and the Russians. I'm only kidding about the Russians hacking my computer when I say that. It's sort of like a technology joke. But I will tell you, if you can get a packet sniffer, and if you have broadband or any kind of internet, and sniff the line and look at the packets, you will be amazed at the prolific amount of packets that are trying to break into your system right at this second. I mean, they're just crazy all over. People trying to break into systems all around the world, and you can do that with a packet sniffer.
Can you explain it though to the people who are computer illiterate? What you mean about breaking into systems? How people are hacking into their computers? Can you explain it in a little more simplistic terms?
Yeah, simplistic terms. Well, most people have routers attached to their cable modems. Your cable modem is the bridge from your network to the public network. The computers on the inside of your house are on a private network. There are on IPv4 IPs. You have, I believe, 3 sets of private addresses, and they're like 172.x.x.x and 10.0.0.0, I believe, and 192.168.1. Whatever. Those are private IP addresses. Private IP addresses aren't routable over the internet. They cannot leave your house or go anywhere except inside your house. All the other addresses are public addresses, which can be routed through the routers on the internet to anywhere in the world. Now, there are, let's say, 255 different possible IP addresses on the 192.168.1.0 network, which would be like a /32 for 32 bits. But out of those 255, you see, we're getting wrong here. You've got 0, which is a network address, and 255, which is the broadcast address. So you can't use those two because that's what all the computers use. But when people try to break in, they scan your cable modem, which is on the public network for open ports, and they'll try to access that port or gain entry to your private systems through the open port on the public network. So therefore, you should have all ports closed. You can generally go into your router config and configure ports for gaming, security, quality of service, and things like that, and those are open ports. You can actually go on the internet and search for scan my system for open ports or whatever, get your IP address, and it'll return all the open ports to the world that you have on your system. And that's generally how people begin to break into systems. Security is by obscurity. You know, you have to have a password 8 characters long, has to begin with an uppercase letter. The second one has to be a number. It has to end in a, that's security by obscurity. When I worked for the University of New Haven, Quinnipiac University, and Yale New Haven, we're going back more than a decade now. I did security by obscurity, and what I did was I took a Windows machine and I put it on the internet with a web server. I masqueraded that IP to a Linux machine. So I came in on a private IP address, a public IP address, which was accessible to the world. I transferred over to a private IP address, which is only routable inside my house. Inside the Windows box, I jumped over to an entirely different network on another private IP address. From there, I went into the Linux machine. That's where the web server was running. I'm sorry, not on the Windows machine. It was running on the Linux machine. And I had a web server running there. And I made flyers up, and I posted them all around the campuses of the universities that if anybody could break into my system and tell me what I had written in this file, I would pay them $100. Now, 10, 12, 15 years ago, $100 was, $250 today. But I looked at the logs every day when I came home from work, and everybody was trying, but nobody did it. But that's security by obscurity. They came in on one address, and I was bouncing them around to a different address, to totally different network addresses. So that's how that went. Now, if they really wanted to block Russia, there's ways around everything, and nothing is secure. But there are routers all over the internet. All they got to do is sit down at a terminal somewhere, write some code, and every country has a different set of IP addresses. For instance, your house may be 100 Main Street, and the house next door is 102 Main Street. Well, you could easily put a code in there that 100 Main Street can no longer send packets through this router. So therefore, they're never going to make it to the rest of the world. You could also block off Main Street. And Main Street, anybody who lived on Main Street could no longer access the rest of the world. You could also block off your city or your state or your country.
Wow.
You could do that.
But
you
why
could do
don't
that
hackers
very easily.
do that? Why don't these hackers do that then? If it's so that easy for someone who's intelligent like you, which there are many other people who know what you know, which I'm not saying you're dumb. I'm just saying that there's other people who, like you said, are far longer in the game than you. Why don't they do that? How come they don't? How is this prevented?
I know nothing about what I'm talking about, to tell you the truth right now. I'm just touching on the surface. I know nothing about what I'm talking about. I'm just telling you what I know and what I use. I used to be in charge of firewalls and packets and HTTP headers and security like IPsec and desk encryption, VPN, and point-to-point tunneling protocol, PPTP, and PPOE. Those are all cryptographies and tunneling protocols. That's what I did. But I also came from a networking experience where I actually had to build computers. I had to know what the chips did, how the chips worked, and that's made it so much easier to implement what I needed to do in the technology that I was in. But the basic security is by obscurity, and it needs to be changed, and we need bright individuals, like I mentioned before, but we need to pay these individuals. If we're going to pay them peanuts.
But Bitbanker, hang on. Someone typed in the chat room, the military requires, and you're talking about Russia. So obviously we're dealing with the military and national security. The military requires a password of 16 characters, both lower and uppercase, including numerical numbers. So
and that's
explain that.
About as secure, and that's about as secure as we're talking here. I'll talk about triple triple data encryption standards, which at the time was the highest there was. It's 56-bit encryption 3 times. 3 times encrypted, and they can, and that's breakable now. That's what you use for VPN. Now, people say use VPN for security, and that is true. But your VPN connection, or your PPOE connection, or your PPTP connection is only secure from your computer to the server you're talking to. Anything before that or after that is insecure. And if you could get access to the network on either end, you can get access into the tunneling protocol. The odds of any normal person who doesn't know what they're doing to break triple DES encryption, because the way triple DES encryption works, it works on a set of 3 keys. You don't have to have 3 keys, but you have to have 2 keys. But you actually only have to have 1 key. But you send one key out. Let's just say you say my key is 1, and you say, okay, I've got 1. Okay, so say now your key is 3. Okay, my key is 3 now, and the second key is 4. Okay, and the third key is 5. Okay, now I'm changing the third key to 1, and that's the kind of security that goes on when you're talking with triple DES encryption. And those keys change at a preset time. You determine how long those keys remain active in time, and you could change it, every 300 milliseconds. So you're only going to have a quarter of a second to gain access to all 3 of those keys, so that you can find out what's inside of that tunnel that this people's talking in. Now, if Hillary Clinton was using some of this for her emails, it might have helped her. I don't know. But it's like I said before. The connection is only secure from your point to the server you're talking to. And if the server has an unsecure network interface, well, that's a vulnerability right there. And I'm going to go back to what I said before. We need smart, young individuals. We need to pay them, and I would say starting at $125,000 a year, because that's what they deserve, for people who actually want to work to make this their life history, to actually make a change. Because you're going to pay somebody $12, $15, $20 an hour. You're going to get somebody that wants to be there just for the money, and on Friday at 5 o'clock they're going to go out and get drunk and stay drunk till Monday morning at 8 o'clock. And so we need individuals which are dedicated to doing what they do. And I've gone to many universities, many colleges, and I've seen tens and tens and tens of thousands of students, and thousands and thousands and thousands of students in criminal science and in IT technologies, and I've talked to them all, and I know where their heads are, and we do have plenty of smart ones out there. But you know what? Money is holding a lot of them back. I know many people. I've talked to many people. I've picked many people's brains. They picked my brains, and they now work for the NSA. I know them personally, and we went hand in hand through the universities. But their biggest gripe is the money. And like I said, $100 million on vacations. I think you could invest $100 billion in the country's future and get these people, because there are people out there that, like me, that just loved it, that did it from waking moment to the time I went to bed.
Wow. Well, that's very interesting. Very interesting what you just talked about there. Some people are saying, what the hell is he talking about? Well, you know what? Get your head out of your ass, because that's what this world's all about. But anyway, I got another caller, Mike, out in Wisconsin. Go ahead. You're live on the air. Go ahead. You've been waiting a long time. Go ahead.
Hey, good evening. Very interesting. I don't know what to say about, the thing that's going on in Chicago. I know they'd like to sweep it under the rug, which is exactly what they were trying to do. But, I don't understand. Where's the president? And I thought, when the black people were killed down, and, he's inviting people to the White House and everything. Now, well, of course, this gentleman didn't get killed, but, it was a disgusting crime. And where's he at? But I have a great idea for the program. Years ago, up here in Milwaukee, on talk radio, one of the talk radio guys in the afternoon who had basically the biggest show, he used to have what is called bureaucrat watch. And once a week, usually on Fridays, he'd give the office of, like, our senator or a representative or, somebody of that nature, he would give their office a call, like at 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock, and ask to talk to them. And, of course, they're never there. They're gone. They didn't come to work or, at lunchtime.
You mentioned this before, Mike. You mentioned this before, so your suggestion is well noted. And I think to keep this program alive, because as you know, a couple of weeks ago, I was very frustrated with the supporters that I had on this program who promised to support the program who are not here. And I have people who I don't even know who are contributing to the program more than my own family and supporters. I became disgusted. Because if you remember, we had a family and friends night. That was a Sunday night show. And it dwindled away. You want to know why? Because family and friends are too busy. And we see that around the country today, and we see it within our own family. Where's our family? You talked about your sister. She came on one time and she's disappeared since. And Mike, you make up a great point. That's a great show topic, what you're talking about. Let's contact these politicians once a week. But go ahead, finish your idea. I like your idea. I like it a lot. So go ahead and finish out your point, please.
I think it can be, the limit can be stretched to your imagination. It doesn't have to be, a bureaucrat in your area. It could be, you're trying to call somebody in Chicago. They call the mayor, and he's not.
Like I did tonight, Mike, calling the Chicago Police Department, and we saw how they became liars live on the air. What did the gentleman tell me, Mike, when I called him? Call this number, and he will answer all your questions. And when I called that number, what did I get? A voicemail. I got a voicemail.
You expect the Chicago police to tell you the truth?
Yeah, the most despicable and disgusting city in America today. But go ahead, Mike. Go ahead. The floor is yours. I just like to interact with you. I'm not trying to interrupt you. I just like to interact. But go ahead, Mike.
The other subject that you guys have been talking about, is basically, just like you're going to have a storm in the next day or so, and basically everything's going to shut down. You don't have the plows to plow the snow.
Oh, in North Carolina, Mike, if we get more than 3 inches of snow here in North Carolina, everyone panics and runs to the grocery store, and the shelves are cleared out. But Mike, I just want to kind of like stick kind of to the main topic, if you don't mind. If you don't mind, with all due respect, and Joe in Spanish, Florida, his contribution tonight was awesome. But if you missed it earlier, we contacted the Chicago Police Department. And I only say that because we got new listeners on the phone line. I just want to reiterate. We contacted the Chicago Police Department and got no answers. None. And the thing of it is, Mike, this is a big story, and we need to make this story huge because Trayvon Martin was the national story for 6 months in a row, all the way through. Remember, his trial was broadcasted. Remember, he was holding a bag of Skittles, and he was a white man, or was he Hispanic? I guess he was Hispanic, wasn't he? Wasn't George Zimmerman Hispanic? But the news media said he was white. He was white. So we gotta believe what the news media says. He was white, and that's what I'm getting at. This video was posted on Facebook nationwide that they tortured a mentally handicapped white man, and they were screaming, "F Donald Trump, F Donald Trump." And they tortured and kidnapped this poor white man. Well, guess what, folks? We're not going to burn down we're not going to burn down our houses and neighborhoods. We're not going to torch our cities and streets in the white community. No, we're going to do it the right way. We're going to get justice the right way, the constitutional way. We're going to prosecute these 4 savages, and they're going to be prosecuted and convicted and hopefully sentenced to death, because that's what they deserve for what they've done. I haven't looked up the statutes, excuse me, what they could be convicted of or what the penalty phase is of what they have done, but they surely need to be convicted and penalized and possibly face life imprisonment. These were 18-year-old teenagers, folks. These weren't 12-year-olds doing this. And that was my question to the police commander. That was my question, folks. Why did the police commander say they made a mistake? They had poor judgment. They didn't know what they were doing. You know, how about if we could all remember back in Jasper, Texas, maybe, 20 years ago, when 2 white men put a chain around a black man's neck and pulled him up and tied him to the back end of their pickup truck and dragged him down the road until he was dead, and his head came off. He was convicted in the media before, which he should have been. They did it. They did it. They admitted they did it. I'm not sticking up for them, but they were convicted in the media before the trial even started. Okay? Why aren't these 4 savages convicted? You know what we get in the media? MSNBC doesn't even report the story when it first happens, okay? They don't even report it, okay? Fox News touches on it, but it's not a major headline. Well, I just want to say, this disgusts me, folks. This disgusts me. Mike, what's your opinion on this?
Well, I just think it's what's good for the goose is good for the gander kind of thing. I mean, I just don't like the idea that the black people can basically get away with stuff, and on the other foot, we being the white generation, we have a different standard. I really hope that when this president leaves office, he takes all the stereotype he has.
Mike, real quick. For people, Mike, real quick to divide you here real quick. I am the universe types in the chat room. America has to get out of the black-white nonsense. I'm sorry, I have to disagree with you, my friend. We never will get out of this nonsense. You want to know why? We're different people. Blacks and whites, have you lived with blacks? Have you lived in the same room as blacks? Okay? Have you lived in the same home as blacks? Have you lived with Hispanics? Have you lived with different cultures? We are different people. We act differently. We think differently. We believe differently. We smell differently. Okay? That might be a racial comment there, but I'm not saying one smells the other. I'm just saying we are different all around. All around. We are different people. And if we're going to force people to live together, look what you get. Just look at our prison system. You get the Aryan Brotherhood versus the Black Gorilla Family. Oh, the Black Gorilla Family. Isn't that a fitting name? Black Gorilla Family. That's a gang, actually, in prison. You know? You get the Hispanics, the Latin Kings. You get all these different gangs, and they segregate themselves amongst each other. Why? Because they are forced to live with each other. and they're not the same. We're not going to get along. We're all not one. We're not one people. We're different. We're individuals. All of us are different. How do you solve the problem? Now, that's the question I pose to everyone out there. How do you solve this problem? We're all different. We're not all going to get along and sing peace on earth together. We have different religions. We have different beliefs. We sleep differently. We eat differently. We like different foods. We smell differently. We act differently. We look differently. We are different people. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But you can't force everyone to live together in harmony. It's not going to happen. Yes, I got Glass comes into it as well. Steel Wolves types into the chat room. Class, you're right. Rich and poor, we're different. Middle class, we're different. Okay? We are a different group of people, but how can we solve... Listen, there are many blog talk shows out there. There are many alternative media shows out there. We have the mainstream media, and I know none of you believe a damn thing they say because they're banker-owned, okay? And we're not going to get into the Federal Reserve and all that nonsense right now because we don't have enough time for that. But us in the alternative media, we know, how do we solve this problem? How do we solve this problem amongst each other? I want to hear from you. This is what the title of my show is about. Understanding the times in which we live in today. And I want to hear from all of you, whether it's in the chat room, whether it's on the phone line. Okay? Everyone gets a voice because it starts here. It starts with the alternative media. Before they shut us down and they stop us. And listen, we all know, folks, listen, Steel Wolves, Flycatch, you know I'm on other blog talk shows. You know I listen to other shows. You know my name is out there. And we know, and I know you listen, okay? And there's a lot of scumbag shows out there that don't address the truth. They don't address the truth at all. And they go way off topic. And what am I out here trying to do? What is the title of the show? Understanding the times in which we live in today. That's the title of this program. It's not my show. It's your show. Without you, I have no show. Without you, I have no show. It's up to you to tell the friends. It's up to you to talk. It's up to you to participate in the chat room. It's up to all my friends. It's up to all the people who disagree with me to participate in this chat room. I don't block anyone. I don't hang up on anyone. Don't you ever forget that, okay? You want me to address Zog? Okay, Zog. I'm a little uneducated about Zog, and I promise in my next show I will become educated. All right? Steel Wolves, you want me to address Zog? You see? I'm watching what you type. I watch what everyone types, and all you are important to me in what you say. I will address it, okay? I will do that on the next show. I promise. I was trying to schedule a guest for the next show on Sunday, a victim of police brutality, actually. They have yet to get back to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look up Zog, and I know a little bit about what Steel Wolves is talking about. Hopefully you'll be on the program. Hopefully you'll be on the program on Sunday, and we're going to look this up, and we're going to discuss it. Okay? I'm calling you out, Steel Wolves, from the chat room. And not to disrespect the callers on the line tonight. Mike, We got 10 minutes left. I want you to give a couple minutes, and then I'll wrap it up after. Well, Bitbanker's still on the line, too. And we got enough time to give both of you a couple minutes. So, Mike, give a couple minutes. I'll go to Bitbanker, and then I'll wrap it up after that, okay?
Okay, well, I really don't have too much more to say about it, Joe. I mean, I think you're heading in the right direction. And, you know, you keep the show alive and moving forward, and that's what's good about it. You know, the chat room is involved, the people on the phone line is involved, and you know, you're not just doing the same old every time you're on. You change, you jump around, and you give people, you know, I guess, abilities to think about stuff. You know, if we just talked about the same thing all the time, I guess everybody would get bored. So my hat's off to you for that, okay?
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. Thanks, Mike. I really do. I really do. Thank you.
So I guess that's it for me. I'll say good evening to everybody, good night, and I'll hand it over to Bitbanker.
Well, no, not Bitbanker yet. Mike, I appreciate you addressing the people in the chat room. I appreciate it. Mike, he's a retired dairy farmer from the state of Wisconsin. I'm out here in Wisconsin. I'm out here in Greensboro, North Carolina. He's out there in Wisconsin. Bitbanker is in Meriden, Connecticut. We had Joe from Sebastian, Florida, and I've got my friend from Christina, who's in England. I need to pay tribute to her. The country of England is listening to us tonight, folks. And I also got a friend from Germany that's listening on podcast, so thank you very much. I appreciate that. Excuse me. We addressed a bunch of subjects tonight, and Steel Wolves in the chat room, I pay attention to the chat room. I really do, and I don't block anybody. You talk the way you talk. You say what you got to say. This isn't like other block talk shows. You have a say. I'll let you have your say. And I am the universe. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate that. Steel Wolves, your opinion matters. It does. Flycatch, thank you. Thank you very much. Before I start getting ready to wrap it up, I want to give Bitbanker from Meriden, Connecticut, a chance to have a couple minutes here. Bitbanker, go ahead.
Regarding the comments about Joe and home security, I'm akin to his shotgun idea, and I'm more akin to a Mossberg 6 or 7 round pump shotgun, and that's the way I would go because you're not going to miss. And like you said, you were speaking of rifles and pistols, and that's another thing. But for home security, I would go with the Mossberg pump. Flycatcher made a comment in there about government employees and everything and contractors receiving cyber training, and that's exactly my point. They're sitting down for a day, 2 days, 10 days, or 30 days in class learning about security. They're learning about stuff that doesn't work. They're learning about stuff that is insecure, and you're not going to learn it in 30 days. You're not going to learn it in 30 months. We need new talent out there. We need new ideas, and we need to pay them. You're also right. Blacks and whites are different. 71, 74, I worked in a factory with blacks. They told me then, we will rise again. We will rise again, Joe. I live here with black people. I have nothing wrong with black people. But the young ones, they're terrors. They think everything they see is theirs and they can just take it. They come in early morning hours into their rental apartment, and 5, 6, or 7 of them all climb through the windows, damaging the windows, breaking the windows. They're not theirs. What do they care? They don't use the front door. They use the side windows so they can't be seen. And they're in there talking about guns and bullets and things of that nature. So they are a different culture, and they don't want anything to do with me, and I really don't want anything to do with them. If they want to be nice to me, I'll be nice to them. But so far, all they've done is steal from me. That's all I have to say for tonight. Thank you. Have a good night.
All right, thanks, Bitbanker from Meriden, Connecticut. Joe in Sebastian, Florida, who participated. Mike out in the state of Wisconsin. And thank you for the people who are in Germany and England who listened in on the phone line tonight. That's great. That's awesome. Hey, the people in the chat room, You know, I don't disrespect people in the chat room. Their opinions are important. What they say, as you could tell, I pay attention to. All right? What you say is important, even if I disagree with you. What the hell? That's what it's about. This is alternative media, folks. Can't get mad at that, can you? I mean, so tune in on Sunday at 6 p.m. I'll be snowed in down here in North Carolina. We're getting 8 inches of snow, so we're all in panic down here. We're in trouble. We're in trouble. See, we don't have snow plows down here. And this snow is more than 2 inches. We're in trouble. We're in big trouble. And like I was talking about the grocery stores being empty, don't worry, I'm stocked up. I got enough food. But we will be on the air, God willing, Sunday at 6 p.m. And I hope everyone who was in the chat room tonight, you're more than welcome to join in. Bit Banker, Bridget Pruitt, End Time, I Am the Universe, Flycatch, Steel Wolves. I really do. I appreciate your comments. We can all learn from each other, no matter what. Even if we disagree with each other, I won't block you. Trust me. I'm not like other blog talk radio shows. I don't kick you out of my chat room because you disagree with me. That's not what it's about. That's not the Constitution. Everyone has a right to talk. Anyway, we'll wrap it up here. I got 3 minutes left. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate your time because you're giving your time to me, and I thank you for that. You're tuning into my program, giving your opinions, your ideas to my program, and that I appreciate. And if any of you ever want a voice, you're more than welcome to call in. 657-383-0616. Press 1. I'll get you on. And we've had a lot of important guests throughout the shows. So, hey, good night, everybody. God bless. Take care. Be safe. See you Sunday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Now, let's set the record straight. There's no argument over the choice between peace and war. But there's only one guaranteed way you can have peace, and you can have it in the next second. Surrender. Admittedly, there's a risk in any course we follow other than this, but every lesson of history tells us that the greater risk lies in appeasement. And this is the specter our well-meaning liberal friends refuse to face, that their policy of accommodation is appeasement. And it gives no choice between peace and war, only between fight or surrender. If we continue to accommodate, continue to back and retreat, eventually we have to face the final demand, the ultimatum. And what then? When Nikita Khrushchev has told his people he knows what our answer will be. He has told them that we're retreating under the pressure of the Cold War, and someday, when the time comes to deliver the final ultimatum, our surrender will be voluntary, because by that time, we will have been weakened from within spiritually, morally, and economically. He believes this because from our side he's heard voices pleading for peace at any price, or better rev than death, or as one commentator put it, he'd rather live on his knees than